After the disastrous defeat of the French and their allies at Leipzig in 1813, many thought that the fate of Napoleon was sealed. But when war entered France in 1814, the French were still eager to fight. Hello, this is Michel Leviathan-Sorbet and this is a new episode of Wojennik TV. Today an unboxing of a very interesting game covering a very interesting period in our history. The Campaign of France 1814 is often considered as a masterpiece of Napoleon, as one of his most important achievements. Indeed, he managed, thanks to successful and quick maneuvering, to score a few very important victories against the Allied coalition forces which were marching towards Paris. Those victories were not sufficient, though, because they were not of a very important scale. The forces opposing the French troops were not very numerous. This was, compared to other Napoleonic battles, small clashes, which enabled only to eliminate a small portion of the Allied forces. Even though this is a very interesting subject, and the game which I will be showing you today is focused on those events. This will be the unboxing of La Patrie en danger, the Homeland in Danger, published in 2014 by Operational Studies Group. The author of this title is, as you might expect, Kevin Zucker, the absolute guru of Napoleonic wargaming. The game is for 1 to 3 players, although it will work at its best when played head-to-head, so by 2 players. The time of play will vary and it will depend on the scenario chosen, because in this game we have 5 single battle scenarios. We have also 2 mini campaigns which enable us to link several battles, and the grand campaign which allows us to play all 5 battles, including in this title, as a streak of engagements. The minimum age of the player is 14 years or higher, and this is a game which is part of the whole cycle of the Napoleonic battles, because the objective of Operational Studies Group and of Kevin Zucker was to release a series of games covering all the most important campaigns fought during the Napoleonic Wars. How La Patrie en danger looks, I'll show you it right now. Here is La Patrie en danger 1814, or if you prefer, the Homeland in Danger 1814. Now, the box cover, as you can see, very climatic, with one of the most famous works by Alexander Hellingsford, depicting a scene from the Battle of Brienne when Napoleon was in danger of being attacked or taken prisoner, but he was defended successfully by his staff members. This is the first part in the whole series, which was meant to recreate the whole campaign of France. So we have the information that this is the first part, in which we will find the battles of Brienne, La Retière, Champaubert, Montmirail and Vauchamp. So the time lapse will be from 29th January to 13th February 1814. Of course, all those 5 battles can be also played one after another, and we can link them into one big campaign. On the back side of the box, we have a description of the components of the part of the campaign of France, which is recreated by, which is the subject, the topic of this title. So we have also a very short information about the 5 battles, the list of the components. We have also the game scale, so 525 yards per hex, 400 to 800 men per strength point, and the time will be 1 hour per turn. We have also a strategical map depicting how the maneuvering of both sides looked like in 1814 and where the battles were fought. So let's now take a look inside and let's see how the components of this title look. Firstly, we have the rules of the whole series, because this is the main advantage of those games published in the whole series. If we master the rules coming from one part of the game, we will be without any problems able to play all the other ones. We have a great cover depicting Napoleon and his staff. This is another very famous piece of art created by Jean-Louis Meissonier. What's interesting that Meissonier was born in 1815, so the year of the Battle of Waterloo. What do we have in those rules? As you can see, the rule book is not a very long one. It has 24 pages, but we do have some explanation concerning how to use cards. We have information that we should take a look into a separate 4-page folder concerning those. We have a glossary which takes almost 2 pages, and at the end we have also the table of contents. So in fact the rules are shorter than they seem to be. They are printed on a paper of a good quality, but the problem is they are black and white. Now this might be a problem because nowadays most rule books are printed in color, although in our wargaming hobby we still have war games which are published with black and white rulebooks. Not a problem because we are all used to such rulebooks. It reminds me of the old school ones, and it's a very good thing. Then we have the study folder, which is also something which is always included in the games published by Operational Studies Group, and here we have both the scenarios as also the historical notes and the design notes. So firstly, we have an introduction which tells us what are the main information about this game. Then we have also the list of the scenarios. As you can see, we have several of them, and as I said also earlier, we have the possibility to link those scenarios onto campaigns, and two different types. I'll show you it in a few moments. We have also some rules enabling us to play the game using team play rules. So this is a nice addition because we are not only able to play this game head to head, we can also face to face, we can also play this game with more than 2 players. We have a part which describes how the victory conditions are set, how the victory points are awarded, and then we have the different scenarios. So we begin with the Battle of Brienne, fought on 29th-30th January 1814. Then we pass to the Battle of La Rotière, Champaubert, Montmirail. As you can see, the description is quite short when it comes to all those scenarios. Then we have the Battle of Vauchamp, and finally 2 mini-campaigns, the Brienne-La Rotière mini-campaign and the Champaubert-Montmirail-Vauchamp mini-campaign. So we have 2 shorter campaigns, the first one which will enable us to play 2 battles, and the second one with the 3 others. Finally, we have the possibility to play the Grand Campaign, so we will be able to play all 5 battles as a streak. This is quite a quest because it will take a long time, it will take a lot of plays because of the big maps, but it is, in my opinion, also a way to go. It will be surely quite interesting, and it will give you an excellent feeling of how the campaign was fought in 1814. So this is the first part of this document. The second one are the historical notes. As you can see, we've also a strategical map depicting the positions of different corps. Then we have also the timeline of the events which took place in this part of the campaign of France, with some tables depicting initial forces at each battle and the losses of those forces. And at the end of this document we have also the designer's notes by Kevin Zucker himself and a list of recommended sources or recommended reading.
At the end of this document, we have also the combat tables. Firstly, the bombardment table, the combat results table, the charge and the shock combat tables. The maps. The first one, which is on top, is the map enabling us to play the first battle, the first two battles, Brienne and La Rotière. So here we have this map. We have La Rotière to the south and Brienne to the north. As you can see, this map is quite small. It is half the size of the other ones. It depicts the region where those two battles were fought. As you can see, those two locations are really close one to another. The map is the same type as the other games published in this series. So firstly, the hexes are quite small. They are smaller when compared to most war games which we are used to, but this is a way to present the terrain in a more detailed way, because of the scale used and because of the smaller hexes, we can add more elements concerning the topography of the terrain. As you can see here, it's an interesting map because we have some rivers, we have some higher ground, we have also big forested parts of the map to the eastern side of it, a lot of roads which will enable us to move a little bit faster. So quite an interesting, quite a small map. A lot of things can be done on it. The second map is bigger and it will be used when playing the Champaubert battle. But this is a big map. Although the Battle of Champaubert was one of the smaller clashes during this campaign, the map is huge. It's a big map. As you can see, it takes twice as much place as the first map. Champaubert is at the center of this map. It's located right here. We have big marshes. We have Le Marais de Saint-Gon to the southern, on the southern part of the map. We have some lakes near Champaubert, a lot of different approach routes. As you can see, Champaubert as the central point of the map is also an important crossroads between roads from the north to the south and from the east to the west. So quite an interesting map too. I'm very eager to play this battle. This is one of the most interesting clashes fought during this campaign, when the isolated corps of General Olsufiev decided to make a stand, not to retreat. Well, the outcome was a crushing defeat. More than 3,000 Russians were killed or taken prisoners, and Olsufiev himself was also taken prisoner. And after the battle, on the evening after the battle, he ate his supper alongside Napoleon. The final map will be used when playing the last two battles, so Montmirail and Vauchamp. And this map is of the same size as the second one, so as Champaubert. Here we have a lot of roads, really a lot of roads, a lot of small villages. The two battle site locations, so Montmirail and Vauchamp, are located in the southeastern part of the map. Here, as you can see, we have a small triangle indicating that Vauchamp is a place which will grant us victory points. Montmirail not, but this is a bigger town. Most victory points are located here. We have 3 yellow triangles for controlling Marchais, Haute-Épine and La Selle. Those three locations will be important ones in terms of victory points. But as you can see, all those 3 maps look look pretty much similar in terms of how they are constructed, what are the different terrain features on them. So that's it when it comes to the 3 maps. We have cards, because this game is a game in which we can use cards. This is not compulsory, it's an optional way to play the game. Adding those decks will add a different layer to the game. As you can see, those cards are prepared in such a way that we have a coalition deck and a French deck, and those decks will be used by both players. Not all cards will be used in all scenarios. When playing some scenarios, some cards will be removed before the game begins. So, as you can see, those cards with a great artwork on the back. On the front, we have just a text saying us what the card does. We have 2 counter sheets and a lot of counters in this game, but this is due to their size. They are smaller than in most war games. This is due also to the hex sizes, which I have already spoken a few words earlier. Now on those counters we have, for instance, Napoleon, we have Grouchy, so we have all the French most important officers, Ney, Nansouty, Victor, Marmont, MacDonald, Gérard, etc. And we have also, of course, the Allied officers such as Olsufiev, Pahlen, Kapcevich, Lieven, Sherbatov, and also the Austrian, the Prussian ones, Blücher. We have also Wrede, so all the coalition officers are also here. We have the combat units, which as you can see have not a lot of stats. They have the movement factor, they have the strength factor, etc. Compared to some war games, we have only 3 information on them. We have a lot of additional counters, such as out of command counters, such as fire, pontoon trains, charge, ripules. But this is the counter sheet on which we will primarily find units. The second counter sheet is the one where we will find a lot of additional markers. So out of command markers, as you can see, a lot of them, which is an indication that command chain will be important in this battle and is important in the whole series. We have, as you can see, a lot of colored counters with different colors depicting different cores. On the second side we have the same thing, but as you can see, the back side of the counters very often will represent the French flag or the coalition symbol, because some of the counters will be single-sided. So here a lot of officers also we have for the French Lebrun, Le Marois, Rapp, but we have also such very important officers as Scharnhorst, Gneisenau or Clausewitz, so we can also use them in this game. Finally, we have a lot of additional documents, a lot of additional charts. We have those turn record tracks, one for each battle. So here is the turn record track for Champaubert, with, as you can see, information concerning the turns, with some additional units indicated on them. We have the Battle of Brienne, La Rotière. The fourth one is Vauchamp, and at the bottom I have Montmirail. So all 5 battles have their own distinctive turn record track. We have also other documents. So here we have, for instance, the Army of Silesia initial setup, and as you can see, depending on the date, we have different setup locations for those units. The same applies to the Army of Bohemia, which can be used, as you can see, on the 29th of January, on the 1st of February. It depends on the battle, of course, because not in all the battles all the Allied units will be used. We have the casualty record track for the French and information how to use this casualty record track. We have La Grande Armée initial setup for all the 5 battles, because the French forces will be pretty much the same in each battle, although there are differences. As you can see, some units appear on the battle, for instance, on the 29th of January, and they are others are absent, for instance, in some moments. Then we have also the casualty record track for the coalition, which is pretty much similar to the French one. An additional document, which is the Day Series Organization display. So this is also to be used. Then we have the weather tables, the weather effects, the combat tables. This is the same table that we had on the back side of the study folder. And again, the same one, but this time it is printed alongside with other information, such as, for instance, the terrain effects on combat, the terrain effect chart concerning movement and line of sight. We have the 4 pages long document concerning the use of cards in the game. So here we have an information about how to read the cards, how to compose our decks, how to construct the deck. There is also a card manifest and a list of the battles, the games which were to be created in the Library of Napoleonic Battles series. That's not it, because we have also a document saying us how to prepare the card decks. We have a list of some cards which are to be removed when playing each battle. And finally, we have also a victory worksheet where we can score victory points and indicate how much victory points were attributed. Then we have on the second side, yes, the second side is the victory worksheet for over battles Champaubert-Vauchamp. Here we have also an abbreviated sequence of play, which we can use when playing the game, and we can take it and keep it somewhere in a handy place in order to use it while playing. The orders. And finally also a small addition, which is an exclusive rules update telling us what to change in the rules as they were printed. And finally, the last thing which is inside this small box is this small note, inspected by Comrade Neil. Thank you very much, Neil, for providing me a complete game of La Patrie en danger. And that's it when it comes to all the elements which are inside the box of La Patrie en danger by Operational Studies Group. Let me invite you now to a very brief conclusion.
La Patrie en danger is not my first Operational Studies Group game, because I have already had the possibility and opportunity to play Napoleon against Russia, which concentrated on the Russian campaign and on the battles, for instance, of Borodino or Mała Jarosławiec. So this is my second game from this series, from this system. I know what to expect. I enjoyed Napoleon against Russia really a lot. I think the system is elegant, it's clever, it's very accessible at the same time, it's not overly complicated. I like the artwork of the maps. I think they are quite easy to read. I like the counters, although they are quite small. This is a fact. This is something which might be an issue for some of the gamers. But even though I believe that the hexes and the counters work well, it's not a big issue even for those who prefer bigger hexes and bigger counters. I really enjoy the diversity of the maps because we get really tons of stuff in this game. We get 3 different maps and a lot of interesting battles that can be fought on those maps. So I'm very eager to try this game. Of course, I will show you it once more during a future review. This was the unboxing of La Patrie en danger, published in 2014 by Operational Studies Group. Thank you a lot for watching this video. I invite you also to take a look at our other movies on our channel. Take also a look at our Facebook and Instagram accounts. And if you want to support Wojennik TV, you can become one of our patrons. Take a look at our Patronite account. You will find the description and the link to it in the description of our movie. I wish you a terrific day and see you next time.